see that isotope effect, the critical or transition temperature Tc, value of superconductor, if found to vary with its isotopic mass, this variation in critical temperature with its isotopic mass is called the isotopic effect. That means when there is variation in isotopic mass, there will be a variation in critical temperature or transition temperature of superconductor. That means you can vary the critical temperature by varying the isotopic mass of that material. So this was the definition and equation needed to be written in your answer sheet. Let us go to critical magnetic field. First of all, you have to write the definition of critical magnetic field, and then equation is necessary to be written. This is the given equation which should be written in your answer, and this is the definition which should be written. Critical magnetic field is the minimum magnetic field required to destroy the superconducting state, and this critical field is called the critical magnetic field Hc. Let us try to explain it with a graph. That means this graph should be drawn. That means this graph should be drawn during your answer. We can just see it on slide. Just observe it on the paper. Here, critical magnetic field. The critical field is on y-axis as well as temperature is on x-axis. Here, this is the limit of critical temperature. Let's suppose that here the temperature is 0 and critical field is also 0. While going in this direction, we can observe the critical field here. And with respect to the increasing temperature, the critical field is shown decreasing. That means at 0 temperature, you can see the maximum critical field. So from it, we can define that below this curve, the material is acting as a superconductor, and if the value exceeds of Hc or Tc, let us say Hc, then material will be acting as normal state. That means the superconducting state of the material is destroyed. So this is the critical magnetic field. Let us define Meissner effect. The complete expulsion of all magnetic field by a superconducting material is called Meissner effect. Let us just define the expulsion. It can be seen on a paper. This is the diagram which supposed to be written with these conditions. These are the two diagrams. When you are writing Meissner effect, you have to draw this two diagram. You can see the first condition where temperature is greater than its critical temperature. We know that temperature above critical temperature, material is not superconductor, and the field applied is also greater than its critical field. That means below it, the material is not behaving as a superconductor. Hence, the magnetic field lines are passing through that material. That means the induced magnetic field B is not equal to 0. Now what happens here, that when temperature is less than critical temperature and critical field is also less than critical field, the material is behaving as a superconductor. That means when you are applying field which is less than critical field, surface current generated in the material. When surface current is generated inside the material is magnetized. That means material magnetization takes place inside the material. For that, a relation is given. See, perfect diamagnetic material. That means diamagnetic material opposes the applied magnetic field. You can see here the magnetic field is not passing through the material. B is equal to 0 inside. You can see here. That means susceptibility is equal to -1. We know that susceptibility is equal to m upon h, and for diamagnetic the condition is susceptibility is equal to -1. If I say here -1 is equal to m upon h, then m is equal to -h. What does this represents? M is the magnetization produced inside the material and H is the applied magnetic field. From this equation we can see that if susceptibility is equal to -1, they both, the magnetization of the material and applied magnetic field, they both are same but opposite in direction. That means if they are opposite in direction and of same magnitude, B inside the material becomes 0. That means it will not let to pass the magnetic field lines from this material. So you have to explain this Meissner effect in this manner. Let us go to next topic, that is new engineering materials. Discuss the properties and application of metallic glass. So these are the question which are being asked in your exam frequently. This is the question in which you have to discuss the properties and application of metallic glass. This question is asked from the chapter New Engineering Material. The strength of metallic glass is very high. This is the first property of metallic glass. The strength in comparison to stainless steel of metallic glass is very high, that is twice of stainless steel, and in comparison to it, metallic glass is lighter in weight. So this is the first property. In the same manner, the second property represents the toughness is very high, that is fracture resistance. Metallic glass is fracture resistance, and the fracture resistance is high compared to ceramic. Let us go to next property. They have high elasticity. Metallic glass is having high elasticity. They have high corrosion resistance. The material behaves as soft magnetic material, and if they are soft magnetic material, easy magnetization and demagnetization are possible. We know that if materials are behaving as soft magnetic material, they can be easily magnetized as well as demagnetized. In the same manner, if it is soft magnetic material, the hysteresis loop is also narrow, and if hysteresis loop is narrow, there will be very low hysteresis energy loss. The last point is they have high electrical resistivity, which leads to low eddy current loss. So these are the properties which should be written in this when it is asked. Let us go to application. You have to write application according to the points. The first point is magnets for levitated trains. That means the material is behaving as soft magnetic material. They can be used as a magnet for levitated trains, that is maglevs. The second point, due to the corrosion resistance, material are having high corrosion resistance property that makes the material to behave or used as ideal cutting tool or in making surgical instruments, because in a surgery the materials are used which are corrosion resistant. They are used as magnetic materials, as tape recorders, as heads in the manufactures of springs and standard resistance also. They are now, this is the latest application, as they are used as transformer core materials due to their property of low eddy current loss and low energy loss. Let us go towards the next question, nanophysics. If it is asked in 3 to 4 marks, these are the points you are supposed to be writing in the answer paper. The first, list application of nanomaterials. Using these materials, soft and permanent magnets can be prepared with wider application. non-crystalline materials, nanocrystalline materials like tungsten carbide, tantalum carbide are used in making cutting tools. That means nanocrystalline materials are used to make or to prepare cutting tools like tungsten carbide, tantalum carbide, etc. The third application of nanomaterials are, these materials are used to make semiconductors, laser, nanotransistor and magnetic storage device. And the fourth point is, they are used to manufacture small size, lightweight antennas having large bandwidth. They are having large tunability and mechanical flexibility. That means they are very small in size. In the same manner, they are having very large bandwidth. The tunability is also good, and in the same manner, the mechanical flexibility is also very good. That means they are very flexible in comparison to the conventional antennas. These materials are used in enzyme removal of CO2 from air and wastewater treatment. That means in wastewater treatment also they are used. SiC, that is nanocrystalline material, is used in making artificial heart valves. Why they are used as heart valves? Because they are also having the property of corrosion resistant property, as well as they are also lighter in weight. Nanocrystalline, that is ZNO thermometers are used in current controlling devices. That means nanomaterials are used in artificial heart valves as human, inside the human. In the same manner, they are used in water treatment. In the same manner, they are used in controlling devices also. So these are the applications, and these are the some important points which are supposed to be written when this type of questions are to be asked. This is the question which is asked: what are population inversion and optical pumping? What are population inversion and optical pumping? As we described, population inversion is the state of achieving more number of atoms in the excited state compared to ground state. In the presentation you can see with the blue number, N2 is greater than N1. This is the condition which represents the population inversion. N2 is the number of atoms present in excited state in comparison to ground state, and N1 is the number of atoms or ions present in ground state compared to excited state. Now condition is N2 is greater than N1. That means population inversion is the state of achieving more number of atoms in excited state compared to ground state. You can see here this question is asked in 2 marks. Population inversion can be achieved by pumping. There are 2 types of pumping: optical pumping and electrical pumping. With it, optical pumping. In this type of source, atoms are excited, that is, population inversion is achieved by the means of external optical source. Optical source are xenon flash lamp or krypton flash tube. So these are the definition of both of them. The rest question will be taken in next lecture. We conclude up to this. These are some of the questions which are asked in January 2013. Some questions which are left should be taken in the next lecture. We conclude up to this lecture. Thank you.